Chapter 3. Malfunctions. Throughout the years, we have noted the same problems happening to our customers. Trust me, we don't like problems more than you. So we have listed up the most common problems and failure and how it's possible to fix it or make it work. Change a fuse, restart the heater, fix a broken crane, cooler not working, gas stove not working, changing a tire, the vehicle won't start, warning lights, car fluids. How to change a fuse. There are 2 fuse boxes in the camper, one located in the front below the dashboard and the other in the rear above the water tank. Spare fuses are stored in the glove compartment. If a fuse blows out in the front, you'll have to pull the lid open to access the fuse box. The broken fuse is easily detachable by a red light that should be on it. You simply remove the broken fuse using a white clip that can be found in the fuse box. Replace it with a new one and put the lid back on. If a fuse blows out in the rear or back, you have to open the trunk of the camper to access the fuse box. The broken fuse has a red light on it. You simply pull the fuse out and replace it with a new one. How to restart the heater. If the heater isn't working, the green light on the switch should be blinking. In this case, please follow these instructions. 1. Check the battery status. If the monitor shows 10.5 or under, you need to start the engine and try to recharge the batteries. If the number on the monitor does not go up when you start the engine, the batteries are not charging as they should. In this case, please call us. 2. Check the level of the diesel fuel. If it's less than a quarter, you should go to the nearest gas station and fill up the camper. If both the battery and diesel level are normal, the next step is to restart the heater. Turn the switch of the heater on, go to the back of the camper and open the trunk. In the upper left corner of the batteries are 2 fuses. Remove the plastic cover and pull out both fuses. Note, make sure you remember which fuse goes where. After they have been removed, wait 10 seconds. Then place them back in and put the plastic cover on. Then go to the main cabin and turn the heater off, and then back on all the way to full power. Wait a few minutes for the heaters to start, and let it run for about 10 minutes. If the heater still isn't working, try the restart process one more time. And if that doesn't work, please call us. How to fix a broken crane. There are 2 ways for the crane to fall off. Usually it's the side of the crane. To fix it, press the parts really hard together until you hear a click. If the head falls off, you have to press the lower part of the crane tightly together when you pop the head back on. Note, if you do not press the lower part together really tight when putting the head on, it will likely fall apart or break. Note that over the winter, the crane falls off more frequently if the camper is without heating for a night. This happens when the water freezes and forms pressure that causes the crane to fall off. What to do if the cooler is not working. Note that the cooler is not a fridge, and therefore we recommend storing products that require low temperatures at the bottom of the cooler. Usually, when people think the cooler is broken, it's because the fan is not running or they feel it's not cooling enough. If the fan stops turning but the blue light is still on, most likely the cooler has reached a stable temperature. To test the cooler, take 1 aluminum can, like a Coca-Cola, and put it at the bottom of the cooler. Let it stay there for about 1 hour and then take it out. If the aluminum can is cold, then the cooler is working fine. If the cooler stops working, you should notice that the blue light will be off. In this case, it might be that the fuse has blown out. To check that, go to the fuse box in the back of the camper and see if any of the fuses have a red light on. If it's broken, you simply pull the fuse out and replace it with a new one. If, by any chance, none of this works, then please call us. Gas stove is not working. If the gas stove seems to be broken, then there are a few things you can try to get it working. Usually, it's enough to take the gas can out and shake it, and press the valve where the gas comes out. Then place the gas can back in the stove and try again. When turning the gas stove on, make sure the switch is in an upright position before you push the bar down to lock the gas can. Then you can turn the switch. To ignite a fire, you have to turn the switch all the way until you hear a click, and at the same time, you should see a small spark on the stove. If the gas stove doesn't make a spark when it clicks, then the igniter is broken, and you have to use matches or a lighter to start the flame. And if none of those tricks work, please call us. How to change a tire. In case of a flat tire, the first step is to find a good place to change the tire, somewhere off the main road, not too close to traffic, a spot that has a flat and stable surface. If the tire is completely flat and you're not in a good spot, it is best to try to pump the tire so you can move to a better spot. You can find a tire pressure pump underneath the passenger seat. After you found a sufficient spot, first make sure to put the gear in park if the camper has automatic transmission, or in first gear if the camper has manual transmission. Pull the handbrake up and turn on the hazard lights before stepping out of the camper. Under the passenger seat, you will find all the necessary equipment needed to change the tire. Large lug wrench, an air pump, wood plate, warning triangle, and a jack and tools. If you're parked on the road, take the warning triangle, put it together, and place it at least 45 meters or 147 feet behind the camper. Take the large wrench and slightly loosen all the bolts on the tire. Screw the cover off the jack. Place the wood plate on a flat surface under the camper. Then place the jack on the wood plate. Make sure the top part of the jack is placed on the reinforced still, located under the base of the camper. Then raise the camper until the tire is above the ground. When the camper has been raised, you can access the spare tire. Go to the back of the camper and loosen the bolts halfway, using the small wrench. Then screw the bolt that holds the spare tire in place all the way, and take it out. Move the metal part that holds the tire to the right to release it. Then the tire should fall down. Next, remove all the bolts on the flat tire using the small wrench. Then take the tire off and replace it with the spare tire. Then put the bolts in using your fingers. When the bolts are all in, use the small wrench to screw bolts on, but not too tight. Put the flat tire on the metal part under the camper. It might help to screw the bolt a bit more down before sliding the metal part back on it. Push it up and onto the bolt. Then slide it to the left to lock it in position. Then put the other bolt in and screw them both until the tire is tight up. Now lower the car onto the ground and use the large wrench to tighten all the bolts. Then gather the tools and put them back in their place under the passenger seat. In case of a flat tire, please stop at the next tire workshop to get the flat tire fixed and the spare tire put back under the camper. Please notify us if you need help with finding a workshop near you. What to do if the vehicle won't start? The most common is a small mistake in the starting process, or the start battery has been emptied. First, make sure the starting process is done properly. Step 1. Have the transmission in the correct gear. If the vehicle has automatic transmission, the gear should be in park. If the vehicle has manual transmission, then the gear should be in neutral, or N, reverse, or first gear depending on the position of the vehicle. Make sure you step on the brake and on the clutch as you start the vehicle. Step 2. Make sure the steering wheel lock is not on. If the steering wheel is locked, turn the wheel gently while turning the key in half position to unlock. Step firmly on the brake when turning the key. The engine will start when the key has been released. If that doesn't work, sometimes it's enough to flip the key, turn the key around, and try again. If the vehicle doesn't start after this, most likely the starter battery has been drained. This happens only if one of the following things have been left on for many hours: the front lights, interior lights, or the radio. To start the vehicle, you will need to get someone to give you a jump start. You can find jump start cables under the front seat. Note: before connecting the jump start cables to the battery, look closely at the two polars on the batteries. One pole is marked plus, and the other is marked minus. The jump start cable has two colors, red plus and black minus. This is really important. Red is plus and black is minus. Therefore, you have to put the red cable on the plus pole on the battery and the black cable on the minus pole. If this is done wrong, the battery can explode and you could get seriously hurt. If you need further instructions, please call us and we'll guide you through it. If you have tried all the options and the vehicle still won't start, then please call us. In this case, we would call the nearest workshop and send a mechanic to you. Note, if he is able to start the vehicle normally or with a jump start, you will have to pay for the help sent to you on the spot. The price of sending a mechanic varies, but is usually around 30,000 to 60,000 ISK around the main road. Dashboard lights. It is quite common for a warning light to appear on the dashboard. It's either due to a broken sensor or if the computer needs a refresh. If the light is yellow, you don't need to worry. However, if the light is red, the vehicle must be stopped immediately and must remain stopped until the problem has been fixed. Here, you can take a look at what each warning light means. Car fluids. The camper comes with a full tank of windshield wiper fluid. If you finish the fluid, you can refill it at gas stations. Just make sure you put it in the correct tube. Note that the round ball tank is for the engine cooling system and should never be filled by anyone other than cozy campers. It's normal that the ball is half full, But if a red heat light comes on in the dashboard, it is likely that the engine coolant fluid is leaking, and you need to stop the vehicle immediately and call us. The engine oil should never be filled by anybody else other than cozy campers. If a red oil light comes on in the dashboard, it is likely that the engine oil is leaking, and you need to stop the vehicle immediately and call us. We want to thank you for watching this video, and we wish you a wonderful journey.